Welcome to the Tine Talk Podcast, sponsored by Rack Fuel, premium deer nutrition. Fuel your herd.
Well, boys, Tine Talk, episode 20. We deserve a cheers today. We got Dustin Nelson on the pod finally after killing a giant.
Too long, 3 weeks.
What was it, 167-inch buck?
167.
Sheesh, that's something to write home to Mama Bo. That's a good one right there.
Biggest one, so.
Dang, that's awesome. He's sitting here right in front of us. If you're watching on YouTube, get a good look at that rack. How many points he got?
Oh, he was 12.
13?
12, yeah.
Another wet brow on the inside point.
Another brow.
Wet brow, inside point, good mass through the beams.
Yeah, real good mass.
If you would have let him go one more year, he might have had a drop tine.
You're probably right. Probably right.
How old was this guy?
You know, I go back and forth a little bit. He was 4 or 5 he was not older than 5. He wasn't younger than 4. Mm-hmm. What he was, I'm not 110% sure. We got pictures of him last year. I would have guessed him as a really nice, really strong genetic 3-year-old last year, putting him at 4.5 this year.
Yep.
Honestly, but it's definitely possible that he was 4 last year too. He was one of those tweeners. So
he looked like in some of those trail camera pictures, he looked 5 in some pictures, and other ones it's like maybe he's 4, but like his front chest just was huge. He was big. And granted, it was middle of October where they're probably the biggest they're going to be all season long, but he was big. And obviously rack wise, 167 inches, my biggest buck ever. Yes, sir.
And got some footage of him too, so it was I wasn't letting him go. I know that. But next year's difference. I basically going into this year, I always said it was either 160 plus or 5.5, and whatever they get to around here. You want to be picky, but at the same time, just a little bit realistic. And it had been 5 years, so
it's a great buck.
Great buck, and you followed your rules or whatever.
Yeah, it worked. It worked.
Got it.
Stood by that. So
dang. So
super happy.
Let's go into this whole hunt for him. How was 5 times that you sat at that pond?
4 to 5 times, yeah. And it was the first time I've actually sat there in 4 to 5 years. I actually probably think it's been 5 years.
Dang.
There hasn't been a buck of that caliber there since probably the last time I had shot that buck. We nicknamed Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Due to his bobtail. But yeah, so we weren't hadn't hunted there in a long time. But we went there twice? Were you with me or just the one time?
Just that once, yeah.
Once, but we picked a perfect cold front.
Man, that was awesome.
Middle of October, just trying to see him because, of course, it would have been good to have an extra guy in the tree, lay down some better footage and everything. But
so you could concentrate on the shot.
We had awesome hunt. I think it was the most bucks I've seen in Buffalo County probably in 10 years, one sit. But we saw every deer that we had on camera except this guy right here. So it was tough. And then I had a couple other good sits there by myself. And then it was Wednesday, the 23rd of October. I didn't get to hunt that night, missed a big cold front. And then sure enough, he showed up and I'm like,
got a picture.
God damn it. That's my chance.
Yeah. Well,
that's it. So many times they get away or, the pressure's so high and everybody's trying to kill a buck like that. So usually it doesn't work out, but I'm like, well, 25th, I was able to get there. I'm like, what are the chances he comes back,
Yep.
And he read the script pretty much, came right in.
Pretty much same thing he did the night before.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It was 2 days later?
It was 2 days later. The day in between there was kind of a shitty rainy day. Didn't hunt, and then
I was thinking it was the next day.
Almost thought, I'm like, I hope he doesn't show up because I know he's going to do the same thing 3 days in a row. But he might come back, 48 hours later. So he did. It was awesome. Put a good shot on him. He went right through the pond. Video is great if you guys haven't seen that. But it was.
He belly flopped into that pond.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was epic.
Right through. Right through the pond.
Was there any blood in the field there? Probably not because it's all washed.
Well, it's beans, so it's hard to see. To see. You
Yeah.
don't have leaves to lay it out, but we basically could just follow the wet path.
Yeah,
So you spraying out water the entire time. But,
That was crazy.
and then of course my arrow, I didn't even realize it, but when I shot, my pass-through went right into the pond. So I was looking for my Illuminac from the stand. I'm like, I don't see it, but whenever we got down and started looking around and couldn't find it, look in the water right where we were standing, and it was, buried inside the pond. The fletchings were
clean as a whistle.
Under the water, clean as a whistle. I could have convinced anybody I missed him.
Oh yeah,
you believe me, but
you could just send a Snapchat. Boys,
should have did that to Larry.
Yeah.
Why is it wet?
I swear.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was great. It was having him there, my uncle Cody, who actually bought the farm a couple of years back, and getting those two there to experience it with me. It was definitely probably tops the charts, honestly. So
that's so cool.
It was awesome.
And your grandpa's always just as happy as anyone else when you go up.
Yep. No, I think he'd much rather see one of his grandkids shoot one than himself. So I know that because he lets us sit in the best spots.
Yep, go ahead. Might as well.
Yeah, for sure. But then crazy enough too, the 48 hours later, a buck bigger than this, that was actually me and you went in and tried to kill too.
Yeah. Got to break that down.
My cousin Gabe, he actually was able to kill him about exactly 24 hours later.
So it's 25th and 26th?
Yep.
That seems like the magical time.
It is.
Yeah.
Last week.
If you're trying to kill a big buck in a high pressure area, you need to take off the last week of October versus the first week of November.
Don't be telling too many people that. I'm sure everybody probably knows.
Keep taking your November vacation.
Keep waiting until November.
I did it a lot of years, and then each year my vacation would show up, and I would be sitting there depressed that the two deer I was going to shoot that year were now dead, and then here I'm sitting with all this vacation praying for a bonus buck.
No crap.
It's tough that way. But
yeah, we were preaching that on the podcast for a while. Got one still alive. You got to keep hammering.
Yep. Late October, they're probably going to keep. You can pattern them a little bit, and it's just cold enough and good. Good enough time of year where they made daylight.
Yep.
Whereas early November, they're daylighting, but are they locked down or are they 2 miles away? There's so many variables there.
Yeah. So much goes into all that.
Makes it tough, but.
So leading in from the 25th to the 26th, he shot it that night too?
He shot it that night,
and that was over that same blind. If you watch any of the Bluff Country Outdoor videos, we were sitting in that same blind a couple weeks before that. Had a pretty good sit.
Yeah, it was actually the blind just to the south of that one.
Just before that one, yeah.
But I mean, these blinds are
not very far
100 yards apart, two little tiny.
Quite a few of them.
They're tiny little kill plots, but the reason we sat the one further to the east, I believe it is, just because it was a little bit less intrusive, and we had been hunting there a lot without luck.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we almost didn't go in there that night because we had been, putting some pressure on it, and my grandpa's got cattle on that farm, and they had taken the cattle out that day, so they were in and out of there, and there was, cattle bellowing and a bunch of commotion, but. As you know, that doesn't really mean shit because right behind the camera there, we got a 190-inch deer where was it 3-4 guys sitting at that pond he came into, that night.
Yep.
Filling it up and
unreal.
Wheeler going, so
especially during that time of year when they got other things on their mind too.
Yeah.
But even like early season when I shot my buck this year, the next night, daylight, that big wide 8-pointer just walking right up there
right through
hour and a half before dark.
Yep.
It's like it doesn't even really phase them. Maybe even helps getting. Well, they were kind of buddies in the summer though too. They were always hanging out. I wonder if he's like, dang, I miss my bro. Where the hell did he go?
Where are you at? Instead of desperately seeking for a doe, he was
desperately seeking for his bro.
He's got to stay frosty during the 9-day. I want to see him next year.
Yeah. Oh man. Frosty.
His frame is nuts.
Frosty 2.0.
Shout out.
Yeah. But
I just don't know. The one, we're talking about that buck. He's an unbelievable frame. I think he's probably 23, 24 wide and just awesome, but he grew substantially from last year. So I know earlier podcasts we talked about them having their big growth year. I'm curious, is he going to continue on that trend or?
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be asking a lot to have him put on another 30 inches, but even 10, a little bit of mass.
Oh, yeah.
And give him a chance. Who knows?
Yeah.
Just the width factor and the wow factor you would get from seeing him walk out of the woods, probably ducking his head between trees and lifting it up. That'd be a sight right there. I'm already dreaming about it next year.
They have to move their head when they're real wide
I know.
like that.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
It's got to be hell for him. He's got it worse than any deer I've probably ever seen. That the size of his frame.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd certainly stay out of the clear cuts if I was him.
Yeah, I don't put cameras out till normally like mid-July or so, but I had a couple out in June just over like ponds and some clover, and he was the first like buck that you would actually recognize and like how wide he was already. I was like, damn, this one's gonna be a good one. But I'm like, I don't know what buck that is. I didn't have anything that was like that wide last year.
He's one of those deer, every time you look at him, he just gets a little bit more impressive. You know, it's not like...
And all those Tacticam videos that I have of them are freaking awesome.
Is he 2 or 3 or 4 this year? 4?
I think he's 4. Not 100% sure, but...
I don't remember seeing him last year, I guess. He wasn't that wide last year?
Show me. Yeah, he was...
He had the same, like, kind of split brow on his brow tine, too. It wasn't really a split. It was just like a little nub point, pretty much. But it's more of a little split or just another kicker this year. But yeah, back to that buck that was shot the next night from your cousin.
Yeah.
So he shot his at like 5:30 something too.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another guy who shot another buck that I was filming in the summer at 5:36
that night.
How they were both
same night.
And then bang bang.
I wonder what the story was on Brueggemann's, right? Correct.
Yeah.
With Gabe's there, he wasn't with the doe. He wasn't. He was all by himself. Yeah. He just came out. He actually came out into that little rack fuel clover plot we have, and he was grunting, being cruising, vocal as hell, just cruising and making it known that was his spot for the fall, and
that's awesome.
How to get him.
You knew he was going to show up daylight eventually, but kind of had all your attention turned towards this guy once.
Yeah. He was, this guy in front of us here, he was a little bit more consistent. I felt
for sure.
He was more killable than that other one. That other one, last year, going back to last year, we had him on camera, but he was fairly spotty, and it wasn't a deer that we necessarily were really following that close because he had only came around, probably 4 or 5 dates. Now, this year, we spotted him out in the bean field next to there, so then we saw how big he was, so we had all eyes on that, and then we threw a couple extra cameras in that area just specifically try to find him. And it was hard. He daylighted on like the 6th of September, and then all of a sudden was a complete ghost for over a month.
And he daylighted like incredibly early that day too, didn't he?
Yeah. And before that, it was like 2 weeks without him. So seeing him there, I'm like, holy cow, we may actually have a chance opening weekend. Mm-hmm. And then he did what big bucks do. He just made it hard on us and disappeared. But luckily, we do know the neighbor. It was just about a mile away, big field, highway across, and he actually was moved over there for most of that period, I believe, because he had plenty of pictures of him. No daylights, of course, but he had them quite often. So
see, that plays into it a lot too, is sharing pictures with your neighbors. Mm-hmm. If you don't talk to your neighbors at all, and you would have never got those pictures, you would have thought he'd be out of the country or dead.
Who knows? And that was about the same time where people are finding a few EHD bucks and big ones, of course. And I had that pit in my stomach before we talked to that neighbor. But I think that's an awesome dynamic. If you can develop a relationship with your neighbors where you can share some pictures, and you're never going to tell them what to shoot and what you can shoot and can't shoot. It's their land, their decision, of course, but it definitely helps grow deer what's in front of us here and on the walls. Sometimes all it takes is a little conversation, and that deer gets another year. And instead of shooting a buck that you could throw in anywhere, you'd fit it in any random wall. Now he's something special where he sticks out.
Yeah, just cool to see him grow from year to year like that too. You never know what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm. And if you let them go and you don't harvest them the next year, it's still awesome if you can see them, see what they grew into, see if it was worth it or not. And don't get me wrong, there's years where they don't put on inches, but more times than not, it's worth it. And even if they don't, it's, hey, give them that chance. And definitely fun.
Paid off for both the Rudd boys.
A couple
weeks ago.
It was a good year for sure. We had a couple of years where it was really tough, and there's a lot of work, and everybody does it, but when it doesn't go your way for a few years, you start to maybe doubt your approach a little bit. But
a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
And it just falls into place. So
you guys put a tape to Gabe's buck?
Yeah, unfortunately, he had 2 broken beams at the very ends.
Yep.
Broken G4, broken big kicker on his one side. And then I think he like nubbed off one of his G3s too, but he was 164.5 or something with being all busted up.
Oh, how many inches do you think he broke off?
We
At least 10.
estimated like 14 to 15 what it was. So he put him just shy of 180. Like 178. Because, if
as a 4.5, probably.
Of course, I got pictures on my phone here, but yeah, I'll show you. Those beams swooped around pretty good, and
Yeah.
he basically
right
busted him
beam,
off.
broke a good chunk off of his beam,
Like
right?
5 inches just on that beam.
The flyer was
Gone.
a few inches, yeah.
It was 1, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it was like 4 inches at the time when we filmed them.
Yeah, I meant like before it was broke was 3-4 inches, wasn't it?
Easy.
Yeah.
That flyer was epic.
Yeah.
Like you seen that first time, and then
you had some awesome pictures of that.
Yeah, then you seen it again when he like turned and walked away. You're like, holy shit!
It's like
another Tine growing up.
and then it went down, and so it was awesome,
unreal.
We're Gabe and Rob they're gonna pay to get it fixed. I think they're gonna take it to Shane and get them all doctored up. So I'm excited to see him when he's all said and done. Which
I texted Shane a picture of Bergerman's and his Gabe's that he shot too, and I'm like, look at these mofos. They were shot within 5 minutes of each other on the same day. Then I was talk to him. I'm like, I think Gabe's gonna hit you up for any like things that he's got to do to it.
Gabe's buck's tricky too. Like, I mean, we took some pictures of it, and you did, and I mean, it looks big, but until you actually hold it, and even hold it next to this one, who's a stud, you don't realize how big Gabe's is. That frame is insane.
Yeah,
each tine is 13 inches and big mass measurements. So
well, the way his beams kind of go around like that, like doesn't make him big from the side as much as he is like straight on.
Straight on, he just
had good mass.
Huge. He had really good mass on the beams because they kind of like webbed where his tines are close together. But on the bases, it wasn't superb. It was probably 4.5, 5, but it wasn't on the slouch at.
And he was probably at 4.5 too.
Yeah, I would guess him to be 4.5, 5.5. Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me if he was 4. Put it that way. Possible. I mean, we only been hunting that property this is the second year, so
just pretty much basing off a picture from last year, looking probably 3. And did you
good
guys weigh him
last year? That one we didn't.
No,
that one we didn't, and this one we did, and he was only 205, which leads me to believe he's definitely a 4.5-year-old.
Yeah,
I could see a 205, middle of the gun from a 5-6-year-old buck, but
it's kind of right around like the cutoff point from 4 to 5,
and that's not a automatic either. Some deer have smaller bodies and they're older, but
with how much that guy traveled and all the neighbors that said that they had pictures of him too, he could have lost some weight.
It just shows how hard they are to get. It's been 5 years, and then of course you shoot him, and then your phone lights up. Hey, it
I had pics of him.
It surprises you.
Oh yeah,
and then unfortunately enough, most people that were hunting him, that was the biggest buck they had on camera, and that's a couple mile spread. So there's not a lot of them, so it's
just got lucky.
Yeah,
I want to talk about your whole like setup for that deer, because I think that's the coolest setup, like food plot wise and everything, that you've had there, like probably ever.
Yeah, well, just the spot in general. My grandpa's, or it's my uncle's farm now, doesn't have a lot of woods. I've measured it before, but I think it's roughly like 12, 13 acres of woods. And if you look back over the last 10, 15 years, the deer we've been able to kill on it, whether it be myself, Tanner, my grandpa, Rob got a really big one the one year. It's crazy what 12 acres can do if it's the right 12 acres. But you got a little strip, a little bit of bedding area on this hill, and then it borders about 60 acres of cover. Whether it be, it's mostly timber and some pine trees there, and then we've got good alfalfa, and close to our blind there, we've got a water hole, and then 2 little bean plots on each side that are, pretty much all shooting range. So you have cover close by, you have your water, you have the green food source with the alfalfa that is awesome in my opinion. It's hard to beat. I mean, there's plenty of green that's good, but alfalfa when it's prime is hard to beat. And then of course then the beans too, all within range, and it's good access over there. It's not perfect, but we kind of have the deer conditioned to the gator with all the cattle and fencing and anything that he's doing over there. So you can buzz in, buzz out It's
like it's
pretty much undetected, no scent. We have a scent-free blind on top of that, and when you're hunting it with a consistent west wind there, it's just really, really hard to beat.
It's nice when you can hope for a west wind that time of year too, a late, like a cold front.
And they're pretty regular, and we can get away with a northwest or a southwest. So you can sit it on a lot of days, and when you have good access, you can sit it a lot of days and have it still be good. So
yeah, especially when you can drop off with a 4-wheeler like that. Like,
I mean, even when me and you were there, we threw 4 or 5 does off the field driving in, and we sat for 10 minutes, and here they were, like even closer,
right in the woods, 10 yards, and come right back out. Probably
right to a little cover, and they're like, "Oh, coast clear, coming back out." I'm hungry as shit.
Yeah, so it's awesome. It's there's, like I said on that video there, I've got 2-3 places to hunt that are really good, and for some reason I just always kill them there.
It's a lucky spot.
I was gonna say you should have.
My last one, I mean, 3 bucks, I believe, for sure. I mean, the last time I shot a buck that was not on that property was my senior year of high school. So 10 years ago. And
I was going to say the new challenge for you shoot not be 160 or 5. It should be shoot one on a different tree stand.
Yeah. And it's granted, it's
on a different farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't shot a deer out of anywhere but that spot in 10 years.
That's pretty crazy.
That's actually.
Your grandpa's farm kind of went like this. I was like thinking it was magical, then it kind of tapered off a little bit, but it's back up there now again.
Well, it only takes, I mean,
just
we got a good chance.
Nice
you just have to get a nice buck in there.
Yeah.
That's small tracts of woods. You know, there's a lot of hunters and there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong there. But being able to get a big buck in there is the hardest thing. It really is.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's been 5 years since there's been a 150 plus on camera.
Yeah. You think your grandpa would ever plant more beans in there too?
Yeah, potentially. Although I don't know if it's gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be enough to pull them away from the bluffs once the snow and the cold weather comes.
Yeah,
it may some for a while. I think like December through Christmas, you might survive it, but I don't know. Every year too, it's funny. We did find one shed on the property ever, but you walk, February, March, you won't find a deer track on that farm.
That's crazy.
That is.
Do they? Well, I guess they don't if there's not a deer track up there. But
there's not.
You'd think even in that cattle pasture they'd find somewhere to hide, south facing up on a hillside like that.
You would think, and it depends on the winter too. If you get a mild winter, there's gonna be a couple, but it's
I wonder if they were there last year.
Yeah, I don't think they were. I mean,
no snow,
and once, like I said, it's predominantly alfalfa, so maybe holding more, plant more beans in there would do something. But
usually it's like the other way around. If you want to have them like come in for a kill shot or whatever, get them in that range, you'd have the green closer and the beans out, whatever. Yeah. But I think like your time that you shot them, like those are when the beans are like more palatable and they come in there and eat those pods and stuff too. So because that one night we sat there, they all came to those beans and started eating on the pods.
They did.
And
the difference is like with you guys deal with grain farmers.
Yeah.
My grandpa's got a beef farm, so he has predominantly green and hay fields. To get him close, we're going to use our, the little bean food plot, whereas you're sitting over a giant, big bean fields, cornfields. Yeah. Get him into a little green plot. So I think all it is just the difference in what you're doing with the land there. So
just the different
kind of cool both
selection
work.
Too.
Right. Yeah, both can work.
Whatever, just draw them right in. Well, even up on that hillside where they came out for a little bit and then they'd eat in the beans and then they kind of make a lap around and you thought that one buck that came out, you're like, oh, it's not him.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, here he comes.
Was that no?
That was the one that died, isn't it?
The one that Joel's guy shot?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, when he walked out just facing us for a second there, I'm like, instantly to the bow, and quickly realized, I'm not in here to kill him. And he was a nice buck too, 4.5-year-old that did not grow an inch.
And did not make it. Really? And still did not make it.
No. But
what'd you call him?
Oh, we didn't have anything good for him.
I thought you said maybe that was a different buck. You had one nicknamed over there.
White-tailed deer with antlers. Got some good names over there.
I'm gonna have to ask our Facebook followers for some names.
Start naming deer.
Out the jigs.
I still remember that Bob buck that got shot.
That's a good name.
He was 4.5 too, isn't he?
He's a stud, 4.5.
Yeah.
161.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. So sooner or later, maybe one of these guys will get lucky and get to 5. And now that I've, broken a 5-year streak, maybe next year, if a 160 comes in and I know he's 4, I can lay off. But
did Bob come from that other side too and walk in and kind of come around?
Where did Bob come from? He
shot him when he was leaving the pond.
He came from the very back of the field. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you shot him kind of as he was walking away.
Mm-hmm. But he had came into the pond, couldn't get a shot because we had a little shrub tree there.
Yeah.
Didn't he wheel all the way around after he shot him?
Yeah.
Was he going? Yeah, he was going away from the pond.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But that was a horrible shot.
Still got him.
That's why we got rid of that shrub tree too, because it essentially cost me the deer. Or almost did. He gets up from you can tell he's done drinking, goes to turn around.
Cost you a shot at the pond.
I draw back, and then he's standing there perfectly broadside at the pond, but
can't shoot.
I couldn't shoot because this little shrub.
Oh.
And then he starts walking away, and then I rush it, go to stop him. And as soon as I went to stop, I punched the trigger. I didn't even let him stop. Looking back at the video.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I did on
fever,
Showtime.
Buck fever ate me up. I didn't settle in, and it cooked me. But luckily, I was able to recover the deer. Believe it or not, it was a chore, but we did it.
We were just talking with Ted and Joel and all them about aiming on deer, and that's something. Got to start aiming off that shoulder more.
Yeah,
I had an instance in Iowa.
Yeah, switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about Iowa. You've been a battle down there early on, late October. You had some good sits. Saw one stud.
Yep.
I saw on camera, but then it slowed up, didn't it? Here.
Yeah, the weather. Well, I think I went back down around the 31st or so, and it just wouldn't stop raining. Like every day there was rain in the forecast, and not only like with limited blind spots to sit, but like access, getting to other farms and just getting in and driving in the fields. You can't drive in the fields and run them all up.
Yeah.
So you got to park somewhere and walk wherever you're going to go. And yeah, just limited a lot of spots that I wanted to get to. And eventually some people got there when it dried out, and some guy said that he saw like 17 different bucks one morning.
Jeez.
Really?
So that's what I was missing out on, I guess. But anyway, yeah, I had a encounter with, well, it was a mature buck. He was like 6.5 years old, I'm pretty sure, at least, because
he was old.
He looked like a freaking donkey when he was sitting out there. But yeah, I was sitting out in the blind one night with the decoy, and I saw him come out and tried to rattle and snort wheeze and stuff, but he wouldn't come. Then he like just kind of looped around and sat there and got up on his hind legs and made a scrape and just wouldn't come into the decoy. I was like, fuck. Well, I was kind of going back, like, should I shoot him or not? Because it's like he's a 6.5-year-old, but he's
130.
Maybe 130. He's like another Wisconsin buck that I've been shooting around here lately. But when he came out, I think it was November 5th. That morning I actually got freaking rained on again. Had no rain in the forecast. I was sitting there, got rained on for 4 hours straight. I'm like, this is miserable. If I wasn't seeing deer, I would have fucking left.
How'd you keep your camera dry during that?
I have this little Sitka hood that I put over top of it that I found from, I think it's my brother Kyle's. Just laying downstairs. I'm like, you're coming home with me. But I had it out there, and it was kind of a slow morning. Actually, I sat in the stand that I did because I was walking down and I had my flashlight on my head. And I looked and I saw 2 sets of eyes. I'm like, what the hell? Then I got closer and closer. I'm like, are those 2 deer bedded next to each other? And I had time to drop my backpack down, and I pulled out my binocs. I'm like, damn, that's a buck bed with a doe. And it's like an hour before daylight even. I'm like,
really?
Maybe I can get away with this. So I climbed in the closest stand and tried to wait them out when it got light out, and they weren't there when it got light out. But
really?
Eventually saw a couple does come through, and probably around 9 o'clock, there was 2 spikes that ran by chasing a hot doe, and one spike literally had his nose on top of her ass and was running around, and the other spike was running after him, and he stopped and run him off and then get back on her. And 5 minutes after that, I saw a shooter too, a real nice buck. I think he's a 10-pointer with another inside point, but he didn't come into range. Try to call at him, rattle at him. I don't know. I didn't have any luck calling in Iowa the last
really
couple times I've been down there. They've like paid attention to it, but pretty much just shrugged it off and kept moving on.
It's almost a little bit opposite from my experience last year.
Really?
I've never really had a ton of luck calling anything in with ground serratos around here. And then when I was hunting public down there last year, I rattled in, I'm pretty sure, one buck for sure. I'm pretty sure the other one was, I don't know, not too long after I rattled, but I'm pretty sure I rattled in 2 bucks. And then I had a couple that I did a couple of grounds and they come in on a beeline. Not huge ones, obviously, but but just deer like reacting or coming to calls is definitely more I had down there than I do up here usually.
That's what everybody said, but no, I tried calling at that deer, and you could see on video, like after I rattled and stuff, like he kind of looked my way, and then after that, like he started like trotting like kind of down and towards my way and into a ditch, but I sat there with my bow in hand for like 10 minutes just waiting for him to pop out, and he never popped out. But so that next night I got my clothes all dried out and headed back to his spot, and it was pretty slow all night. Probably only saw 5 does before, but all of a sudden I see this buck coming out over the edge, and I got my binocs up. I'm like, oh, that's that 6.5-year-old beast again. And I'm like going back and forth if I'm gonna shoot him or not, and he's kind of following a lane that I kind of walked in, and I thought he was like smelling, because I had some like, what do you call it? Some doe pee or ester stuff in my bag, and I don't know if he was like following that right through, but I thought, so I set my camera up in case he like walked that 25-yard lane right to me, but I think he kind of got downwind up above more, but I knew he was directly downwind after I like set up on him, and he's just sitting there looking totally away from me, but he's like 47 yards there, and ironically enough, that was 47 yards was how far that other buck was when I saw it, October 25th or whatever when I was down there.
Yep.
But I'm like, damn, he's going to give me all this time, and I like had it wide on him, and then I went in and even like zoomed in on him. I'm like, God, he's a freaking huge-bodied deer. Like, I'd be dumb to pass up a 6.5-year-old buck. I'm like, yep, I'm shooting him. So I drew my bow back, and it's probably the longest I've ever settled in on a deer before ever. Like, I probably had it pulled back for 5 or 6 seconds before I finally let it fly, and I felt so confident in it. And you can see the arrow just, boom, like it didn't ricochet or look bad or anything. Just all of a sudden he had time to duck, turn, and blow at the same time.
Just
high shouldered him, and not going to find that one.
No, and like you came a little bit further back and may have helped, but
could have hit that artery up top too.
Hindsight's one thing. So everybody's had an experience where you miss one or don't hit it in the right spot, which
it's
you
the
can
worst.
do small things to to better your odds. Biggest thing I could say is stay the hell away from that shoulder blade.
Yep.
You're better off missing back, liver, guts than you are shoulder blade. Of course, you're not aiming there. It's an unethical shot. But
well,
you're gonna get your hands on the deer if you wait.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, anytime anybody says, "Oh, I hit it in the guts," it just sounds so bad. Oh my God! But
the deer's dead every single time.
If you don't bump it, like you're gonna find it.
Yeah. It's tough because like in your head when you're trying to like aim off the shoulder that much, it like doesn't even feel right. Yeah. But it is the right thing to do.
I've kind of gotten used to it.
Draw it back like that. I know, and I was used to it for a while. I used to shoot them like lung, liver all the time, and then, like I was saying, I shot a couple right in the heart, and I'm like, shit, I should do that every time.
Yeah,
I got to get back to that. It's just a mentality you got to have.
Hard shoot a 193, you kind of want to do it again.
Yeah,
back lungs. Back lungs is kind of my go-to, or I try.
Double lungs is dead 100% of the time.
I still may pop one on the shoulder next
I just
year.
need one.
It's hunting. It happens.
I need one to be quartered away for once. Buckeye is quartered too slightly or whatever.
Yeah.
Open up that kill zone by about a foot.
I like
yours last year.
Yeah, that's perfect. That was barely quartered away, but it's just that's perfect. Like
open right up front shoulder.
Yeah, barely quartered 2, even like slightly quartered 2 sucks. I feel like it just. It narrows down quick. It seems like.
Yeah. Well, and they're quartered 2 even, like that shoulder's hiding a lot of shit back there too.
Yeah.
So you gotta aim further back yet even, and you're like, damn, I'm aiming for straight guts.
You're
right
almost
here.
trying to aim for one lung gut there.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, my Iowa buck was like barely quartered away, which was about perfect. But then that last one I shot up here, we called Ross that one. He was actually quartered away pretty hard, and I shot him in like the last rib, kind of like back on purpose, and he only went like 50 yards too. Like I'd much rather have like a pretty hard quartering away too versus like a slight.
Doubt.
Yeah.
Quartering away is better than broadside, I think.
Yep.
No question. But anyhow, so we talked a little bit about my success. Mitch, we talked a little about your troubles this year. Jake, what? It's November 14th. I know you spent some time in the tree. What can you share with us?
We're struggling. Me and Cole and my dad, we've been hunting. Well, last week we all kind of had some time off, but we've been hunting hard for, it seems like 3 weeks now, like the last week of October.
Probably been hunting the shit out of your farm, haven't you?
Yeah. But it's like,
still moving.
It's the rut.
How do you know?
Yeah. It's the rut. There's 2 shooters running around. We've been getting consistent pictures of them. It's like my dad mentioned that the one time. He's kind of been sitting we call it the tank, the blind we have there at the food plot you went with.
Yeah, that blind that you didn't have a heater in.
Yeah, when it was 60 degrees out. Yeah. But
Show
he
my
goes
T-shirt saying, "Hey, we're hunting a hunt tonight."
What are you doing, bro?
My dad was been hunting there. Like, I don't know. He always tells us to pick where we're going first, and me and Cole like sit in the ponds, obviously, and he was sitting in that tank a bunch of times in a row, and we were texting the one time. He's like, I don't know where I'm going to go tonight. I think that the tank probably needs a break. And it was the first week of November, towards the end of the first week. And we're like, it's prime rut right now. It's like, I don't think you can burn a stand out, really. You got to be in the stand, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree? Like, I don't.
Yeah, to a point.
And especially, it's like our farm's not very big either. We have limited stands to go to. So you got to hunt. And we've been still getting pictures there anyway, so it's you're not going to go to a couple stands that we have kind of just thrown up just to have them for early season or something, just because you think your stand needs a break. But
those may be more intrusive than your other ones that you're sitting more.
Yeah,
but we're struggling. We've all actually all of us have laid eyes on the number 1 in the stand. I'm pretty sure I just saw the number 2 this morning. Cole's seen him, got a really good video of him last week. I think my dad saw him too, so I think we've all had eyes in the stand of number 1 and 2, and it just hasn't happened. So
you're actually gonna shoot him? Is that why I thought you guys were kind of holding off?
Well, Cole actually gonna expose Cole. He actually texted me yesterday. He's like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna shoot him for Marino. We call him. I'm actually, which definitely opposite of previous years, I'm actually telling myself I'm not going to shoot him just because I want to.
I don't think I would.
Just because I want to. I got my
Tine.
eyes on that, and I just got my eyes on number 1 so much.
It's cool to shoot something that nobody else gets,
And like you said, broken tine on him, it might sound dumb because he doesn't have a ton broke off, but he's got half of his left G2 broke off.
Yeah.
He broke off a couple inches off of his beam on his left side. He broke off the tip of his left G4, and his entire right brow is broke off. So it's like, that's bugging me. Probably more than it should, but
he's probably a 4-year-old, don't you think?
Yeah, he's got a huge body this year, but I don't think he's 5.
He's got a neck on him.
Yeah, that video Cole got, he was like facing away, and then he turns his head, looks right at him. Looks like a freaking bull. Yeah,
I know.
You plan on getting out? It's what, 15th today, 14th, 15th,
14th. Yeah,
14th. Okay. Do you plan on getting out the weekend before gun, or what's your status there?
Yeah, I'm gonna hunt hard, I guess, as much as I can, because
till gun.
I think if they make it to gun season, the chances of us killing them goes way down. But I don't know. That's
so hard to say.
It's gun season, but
you made it through last year, which I think most neighbors would have probably been killing them last year too. Not everyone, but most.
Yeah.
Where'd you have them at at camera wise like last year around this time?
We actually we didn't have that many pictures of him last year. Way in the back corner of ours, we had a few pictures of him. I'd have to really look, I guess. And I think he was in the food plot at the tank a couple times. I remember
seeing him in that food plot.
Yeah, he was at that scrape tree, I think, last year.
I'll put you on the spot then. So say he gets lucky, you don't kill him, he gets it through gun season. Oh. You get him late December, January on a food plot, and he's alive. Do you let him get to age 5, even though he's as big as he is?
No, I'm sure.
In January?
I would take a lot for me to pass up a booner, so I'm pretty sure I'd kill him late season.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me.
I made a big step.
It's easy for me.
I made a big step
saying
I was gonna pass up Marino.
Yeah,
same for the bro.
Yeah,
it's tough. That time, that late season, like around here, I
know what you mean.
I
though.
almost hate hunting because it's
Oh yeah.
There's no 6-year-old unless you have a 6.5-year-old buck that you feel is going downhill. It's like, gosh, you made it through the year. You're done.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Because like if you made it through the 9-day rifle season in Wisconsin, it's like after the last day,
you can do anything.
Their odds of making it is skyrocket.
It's still not perfect, that.
Yeah.
But
and muzzleloader,
if you get towards,
But I feel like not. I don't know. Maybe it could be wrong, but it seems like not very many people muzzleloader hunt. At least maybe where I'm at, but I don't know. If I know what you mean. If you make it through rifle season, it's like he's gonna make it unless he gets hit by a car or something. But
that shit happens. They can hit by a car. They can get EHD. They can do. There's so many things that got to go right to actually grow a big 5.5-year-old buck. It's hard, which sucks. It sucks that it's so hard, but that's why when it does happen, it's so damn awesome. So.
Yep.
That's why half the 5.5-year-olds you see out there are 130 inches.
I have, I guess, like I said, we haven't killed very many 5-6-year-olds on our place, but
probably
remember, I guess
probably not a lot alive.
No, remember Billy? He was 4-year-old, 10-pointer, perfect 10-pointer. He was all busted up when he was 4, and he made it through. And we're like super excited because we thought he was going to take, obviously, a big leap to 5.
Like 165, 170.
Yeah, didn't grow at all. Looked identical the next year. That kind of sucked. Yeah,
I'm shocked on that one.
Yeah.
That's not common, but it happens.
That kicker that he had that one year.
Yep.
Too bad.
Still see that picture in my head, kind of like looking away with beast.
You're not thinking of MJ, are you?
I'm thinking of MJ for sure.
Yeah.
Too many bugs.
Billy had a kicker, but it wasn't much of a kicker. MJ had like a big hook kind of.
He was awesome.
Yeah, that was a stud.
He got shot gun season then the next year.
Chanson's.
He moved. Yeah, he moved like a mile and a half.
Yeah,
definitely was him. Once I saw that picture, I'm like, oh, that's for sure him.
That was a toad.
Yeah.
What are your guys' gun season plans then?
Well, have a lot of fun. I don't know.
Make a lot of food in the blind.
Yeah, make a lot of food. Don't go hungry.
Not have the boots on. Straight socks.
Going back to when he came with me in the blind, he's talking about the heater. Should have heard him freaking whining that I didn't bring any snacks, dude.
No snacks, bro?
Yeah, I thought being the cameraman, I gotta
some kind of
we're set up in a set up on this big, tote you guys call it, or tank.
Call it a tank. It's a big old water tank.
It's a lot of room.
It's pretty cool.
I helped you guys push it up there about through my shoulder.
It feels like an aquarium in there.
That's probably why my shoulder still hurts every time I throw a softball.
Yeah, probably.
But no, it's a cool little spot. But yeah, you got no heater, no snacks, no water.
Sorry.
And no deer.
I'll do better next time.
No deer.
No deer. No, not.
It's the worst part.
That night we didn't see shit, did we?
Everything else would have been good, but it was a no deer part. That
I was still in party mode. I think that was only 24 hours after I shot this one.
That's true, isn't it? Yeah.
True.
What was this?
Or remember,
was that riding on cloud 9?
That wasn't. Yeah, that was the night. No, I think it was 2 days after. That was the night when Gabe shot it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was one day after.
Okay.
One day after. I remember. Yep.
That just reminds me of riding the high after shooting that buck in Modena. Dustin's like, we might as well double. We might as well go out tonight and shoot another one.
We got done taking pictures.
Fucking right.
And
yeah. It's not gonna be right, bud.
Yeah,
it's November 4th, man. I got a tag. I got a good spot to go to. Sure enough, we went to the same spot where I shot this one.
Back to the well.
That night was tough though. We saw like 15 does and no bucks. It was crazy.
Unreal.
It was crazy. I still don't understand it, but they must have had there must have been a couple of does in heat, not next to us, and a couple of bucks locked down or something. That was wild. It was November 4th. We saw double-digit doe numbers, not a single buck.
No
Where was that?
Buck. At the well,
man.
It's all like you need to shoot some does.
The gold mine.
Gold mine.
Those
Is that your gun season plan? Gonna start whacking all the does?
Not there necessarily. I mean, although we probably could, but we're not too far from a couple of Amish groups that I know knock down a big number come gun season.
Hell yeah.
Just hope they shoot the does and not, the 3-year-olds we've been letting go for most of the year. But it's
or nubbin bucks.
If they do, then they do. That's the way it goes. But can't control it, so not gonna sweat it.
So you'll be sitting in a blind with some warm food, some cold beverages.
Yeah,
I'll be a little Coleman grill, make a steak.
Probably.
It's been tough because right now there's one spot where we still have a shooter, and I mean, let you guys know this, but sure enough, the neighbor put a blind, a big hut, probably 40 yards off the line fence, where you can see right down into my grandpa's woods too and stuff. So I'm almost like, that's the one place we have that big one left. I'm almost like somebody's got to sit there just to make sure that
they're not shooting right on your property.
And I'm not saying that they would. It's just a tough situation to put yourself in. When you're that close, you have a big buck that's 100 yards away from you and the neighbor's property. Would I do it? No, but a lot of people would, and I think the best thing to do is to not put yourself in that situation sometimes too. So
imagine sitting there and they don't know you're in that blind, and all of a sudden, boom! Like what in the? You're just about to shoot him.
Yeah. So no, but I think it'd probably be cool. But anyways, it was a different dynamic because when whoever goes there this year, which somebody's gonna go there. If nobody does, I will, because that's the one spot where we have a deer I would shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's 100 yards away. We'd be sitting there looking at each other the whole day, but
he'll be jealous as hell watching you eat all those snacks through the window.
That's Buffalo County.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
Looking at neighbors. Actually, that was when that one I let go and then got hit in the face.
In the jaw.
Yeah.
That was hard to watch.
That sucked.
I think Tandy made a comment the other day. He's like, around gun season, I couldn't even take a piss out of my tree stand without getting an indecent exposure charge.
Too many people.
Yeah, he's like,
we gotta have him on the podcast. We've talked about it a lot.
I know. The guy's a busy guy. He's either shingling a roof somewhere or filming somebody or shooting pool somewhere.
Out west.
Shooting coons.
Yeah.
Shooting coons a different night. Yeah, he's a hard guy to get a hold of, but he'll be on the podcast soon.
Speaking of shooting coons, I'm up to 5.
Really?
Dang, with no dog.
With one broadhead.
Fixed
you and Boozer didn't get any on your way back from Iowa, did you?
No.
Tell us about that.
Yeah.
So my dad ended up getting an awesome coon dog.
What kind of dog is that?
I hope he's awesome. It's a mountain cur.
Yeah, they kept asking me because
he's got really good, bloodline or pedigree, and a lot of champions in his bloodline. So my dad got him as a puppy, which generally he doesn't raise a ton of puppies. He kind of buys a more established dog and goes about it that way because it takes a ton of time to train a puppy. But good enough where he had to have him. And it was right down close to where you're hunting, and he was like, I gotta, basically telling me not a sob story, but saying how I gotta drive down and get this dog, coming up. And I'm like, where is it at again? And I looked at him like, gosh, it's only about that's only like 55 minutes to an hour from where Mitch is hunting. I mean, like, I bet you he'll be down there. If he kills a buck early, like, he can't do it. But
yeah,
if it works out, he might be able to just swing past and bring it up for you, so you don't got to waste the whole day. So, lucky he didn't kill a buck.
What a hell of a guy.
Coming back.
Hell of a guy.
Mitch made the little detour over to Batavia, Iowa. And how was your 6 hours with the hound?
It was great for a while.
I pee right in your lap.
I put that blanket down in the back seat thinking.
Was the place he come from like decent? I mean, I don't even.
It wasn't bad. There was like
he didn't come out of some barn.
8 other dogs in the same kennel as him. Yeah. and she went in there and picked him up by his hair, and like I was like, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Did he whine?
That's
Did he
how
whine?
we're doing it?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh.
But then I held him for a little bit. I'm like, all right, you're a cute little bitch. Get in the truck. Let's go home.
Get in the truck.
So
now get.
Put a blanket down in the back seat for him, and he was chilling back there, and he kept like crawling around, and he like, I had my bow down there and like my hunting stuff, and like fell through the crack by my bow. I'm like driving, trying to make sure he doesn't like get stuck down there. And then after a while, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna have to put him up front. So I moved my stuff around and put the blanket up front and set him down in there, and was driving like that for maybe 20 minutes. And he keeps trying to hop over the middle section and crawl on my lap. I'm like, you know what? All right, you're going to sit on my lap the whole time, I guess. So he sat on my lap pretty much the whole ride.
He's just snoozing on your lap.
Yeah. And then he was kind of dozing off. Well, actually, I put him back in the seat, and we were going back through southeastern Minnesota, and there was fucking deer everywhere. Come around the corner, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, shit. Pressed on the brakes real hard. He fucking flew forward.
And the
floorboard. I was like, dude, no. I was like, bro, are you all right? I like pulled over. I'm like, dude, are you all right down there?
Bro, are you all right?
Good.
And then I put him in my lap and got back to it, and we got down to like Winona. Well, no, he wasn't in my lap again yet. He was still in that blanket. And all of a sudden, like, I look over, I'm like, I don't think I have like a water bottle over there. Why? What's that sound? He's just fucking puking all over that blanket.
Puking?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was
like,
pissing.
Jesus, bro.
You have to drove so crazy. You're probably going through them windy roads at that point.
He probably had a concussion. He was
throwing him
puking from a concussion.
You're throwing him off the dash and acting like.
Oh, you didn't have him buckled up, dude, in the front seat?
No. Bro's too small.
But
yeah,
no, he made it home. My dad's been happy with him. He's been putting him in his potty truck.
Made her back in one piece. That was a weird detour I took that day, because I went up. I wanted to change a camera, so I went out, changed a camera, put a tact cam over there, and drove like an hour and a half east, and then I had to meet a guy in Cedar Rapids to drop off my decoy that I got to borrow that weekend, and then kept up going through the east side of the state there, through Iowa. So I didn't go like
it's super OG windy, route. Isn't it?
It is.
Like when
you
went
get up
down
to the northern spot.
Yeah.
We went down to like Tim's party there, bachelor party.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Dude, it's so windy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were most of those windy roads were like southwestern Wisconsin too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never get down there.
But it's like if you go over to and go 35 south to southern Iowa, it's just like a straight shot.
Yeah.
You go down
so we take
the other way, it's like there's a million turns.
Yeah.
Bluff country, river stuff. It's pretty stuff. Country though. If you're going on a little cruise with some buddies, it's probably the better route to take. If you're just trying to get ground by yourself, get there, not screw around.
Fly. Yeah.
35 is probably the better option. But
what are we gonna do for shed hunting this year?
We got to change it up.
Yeah, I talked to.
You got some private lined up?
I talked to a guy. Well, I have two options. There's a guy in Kansas who owns a shit ton of land who doesn't really have anybody, doesn't let anybody hunt.
Really?
I'm intrigued.
Really?
You have my attention.
He's in Kansas, and so I plan to try to ask him about shed hunting, because he owns, I think it's pushing like 1,500 acres, but it's his family land, and they're not big time hunters, but they don't let anybody hunt their type of deal either.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also talked to another guy who he said the Dakotas are in the new spot to be if you want to find sheds.
Dakotas.
And not run into the crazy pressure. I was going to say
probably less traffic.
The pressure is the difference. So up there's a lot of land, and the pressure is cut in half or then some.
Are the deer as big?
Nope.
Potentially.
Well, potentially. They haven't heard of any EHD outbreaks in North Dakota in a while, and I also know that you don't hear about North Dakota having big bucks all over Facebook and
you see them
online,
all the time.
So.
Early season out there, but I don't know. It'd be interesting.
It's a good area, in my opinion. Iowa's great. It's going to be hard to beat, but it's also it's like anything. Your best fishing spot. It's good until there's 6 other boats there when you get there, and then it's just not good. So,
or we can just go to a total different spot in Iowa. Seems like we kind of. Actually, when we went to northern Iowa the one time because of the snow.
We went to eastern.
Oh, that's really narrowing it
western.
down. Jeez, yeah.
No. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm good with going anywhere else, but that hot area down south center of the state is, everybody hears of giant bucks down there. You have the juries, the cows. I mean, everyone, but everybody knows that that's where they're at, and it's just unfortunately what it's turned into. Social media has killed.
The first year we were down there, we run into like 3 other guys from Wisconsin, didn't we? Those guys with the bikes.
I remember seeing guys from like Alabama or Georgia too down there.
Really?
Yeah.
We walked our asses off.
That first year, we were so freaking pumped up, dude. That first spot that we parked at was like insane. Like I looked out, I'm like, there's some giants in here. I guarantee.
Are you talking about the stop that the starts with an R and ends with a G or D?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still love that spot. And like, pulling in there was deer everywhere.
I think I took a picture of it. I'm like, damn, this is scenic as hell, dude.
Scenic. There were
big bucks.
At that point, we got there at dusk. There wasn't much for trucks around, but there was incredible deer country, and we walked for miles.
Remember, we saw it right when we pulled in there. There was
late.
50 deer right across the road.
Yeah. We were just late, I think.
Who cares? I'm looking forward to another bagel sandwich, and
it's always a fun.
And listen to Luke talk about cam tracker pictures.
And also, it's usually in late February where I've been sitting on the couch for too long all winter long, and
crazy.
You find out how out of shape you are, and it feels good to get out in the woods and walk around. So, but I'm sure we'll talk about sheds at a later date,
pod.
Yeah, gun season coming up. It's hopefully we can spit out one more pod before gun. If we can't, maybe we do one during gun. Although it gets busy.
Yeah.
But it's a fun time. But I will say it's not always the funnest time to be in the woods, but it's the funnest time to be in deer camp for sure. I think everybody's here. It's
I can't freaking wait.
It's more about the camaraderie and the memories of the camp and seeing everybody come back.
Whopper Wednesday
for me now than it is killing something. And it's, again, easy for me to say because I got my buck this year. I could be happy if I don't see a deer. But
dude, it feels like I shot my buck last year at this point. It feels so long ago.
Crazy?
So long,
Feels like Dustin shot his a long time ago already too.
I think this is the most I've looked forward to gun season in a long time, just because I haven't hunted myself.
You got to lock in for Iowa first.
I know, I got to lock in. Let me get right quick.
Refocus.
I got one more weekend, one more rut weekend. I might go try another late season or something, but I don't know. These Airbnb fees are fucking racking up.
You should talk to Damon. You got to
sleep in the
drive
truck.
drive a little extra.
He lives too far away, too far north.
Come on, dude. I did that for...
How far did you drive in the morning?
Like an hour.
An hour, yeah.
Yeah, well, those spots are even more south of Sheraton.
I was south of Sheraton, right?
You were?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. There we go. Giving away our spots.
You were more.
I was east.
You're just northeast. Northeast.
I'm going to go hunt that wildlife preserve this weekend.
God.
Way northeast of Sheraton, like 100 miles.
Yeah. And way east, towards the river.
Well, if we keep going here, we're going to give away all our spots. So.
Yeah, we might as well cut this off before we already sitting in our tree stands. But
all fun and games. Hopefully everybody has some luck this year. Gun season's around the corner. Shoot straight. Know of your target and beyond.
Yeah, good luck on hunters if we
wear blaze orange
pod before then.
True. Yep. Alrighty. We'll see you guys on the next one.